Hi, mathematicians. This is the last math lesson for this week. Woohoo! Today you're going to need your math journal, your math notebook, and a pencil. And you'll also be responding to some questions on Seesaw. And I posted the template for you to respond on there. I'm going to show you my screen so that we can do the warm-up together, and you should get your notebook out and ready to start the warm-up. Here we go. Okay, for today's warm-up, it will be so handy if you have the number grid that's in the back of your math journal, and it will really help you to solve these problems. So find that number grid, and in your math notebook, you are going to find the number that is 10 more than 70. Write that down. Then find the number that is 10 less than 70 and write that down. All right, next we're going to use that number grid to find 10 less than 15 and find the number that is 10 more than 15. Write those two numbers in your notebook. Next in your notebook, find the number that is 10 more than 28 and find the number that is 10 less than 28. Write those down in your notebook. Okay, for this next part, I'm going to have you turn to page 165 in your math journal. Page 165. And there's only two questions on page 165, but this is something that I want us to spend a minute thinking about. Let's pretend that I gave you a triangle of cheese. That's what they're showing us right here with this blank triangle. If I gave you a triangle of cheese and I said, please split this equally with a friend, how would you do that? Go ahead and draw a line on the triangle to show how you would split that equally. Do that right now. But the thing I want you to think about is, how do we know that those pieces are equal? How could you make sure that you're both getting the same exact amount? Now, if this were an actual piece of cheese, this triangle here, there'd be a couple things you could do to make sure that those pieces are completely equal when you cut it in half. One thing would be that you could take the piece of cheese and actually fold it in half so that it splits exactly down the center. If you did that, then you could take 1/2 of the piece of cheese, put it on top of the other half, and they should line up exactly. And if they're stacked on top of each other, they should be the exact same shape, right? So that you know that they're both exactly equal. If this were a paper triangle, you could do the same thing. You could cut it in half and put the pieces on top of each other to make sure that they're equal. If we look at number 2, it says, is this piece of cheese divided into 2 equal shares? I think you know the answer to that. It would be no. That piece of cheese is not at all divided equally. So go ahead and write the word no right here. But then how do you know that it's not equal? There's a few different answers for this, but spend a second thinking about it. How do you know that these are not equal pieces? Write down your answer with words right down here at the bottom. You're just supposed to be thinking about what makes things equal and what makes things not equal. That's what we're doing. Now you have one more page to do in your math journal today. And then in Seesaw, you're going to see 2 templates. That's something that you can respond on that talk about equal shares. So I'll explain those here in just a second, but I wanted to show you the other page in your math journal This is the page you're going to take a picture of and post in Seesaw. So on Seesaw today, your job is to respond to the 2 templates that are already there in Seesaw. And then the third thing you have to do is post a picture of your work here. Now this is kind of a review page for us because we've done What's My Rule problems quite a bit. We did them in our last unit. We had them on our test. This is practice for you to continue using what you know about function machines. So it says find the rule and the missing numbers. Use the number grid if you like. So you have to write the rule in each of these boxes and then fill in the missing numbers. And number 5 says, how can you find the rule in problem 4? So they're asking you to tell with words how you found the rule up here in number 4. I'm going to let you do this page on your own. Let me explain the 2 things you'll have to do in Seesaw. Seesaw, you are going to see Math Lesson 8-4. This is what it looks like in my teacher box. Obviously, things look just a little bit different in the student box, but you'll click on Math Lesson 8-4 to turn in your response for today. And it'll look like this. So the directions say, color the shapes showing one whole blue. So you're going to do some coloring on here, and you know that the markers and pens are down here. So you can color the shapes that are showing the whole blue. Color the shapes split into 2 equal shares or halves, red. Color the shapes split into 4 equal shares or fourths, green. Okay, that's the first page. The second page is where you're going to draw a picture. This is from our math book for lesson 8-4 today, and this is a question that we really need to think about and give a really thoughtful drawing and answer. It says 2 girls share 1 paper square. 4 boys share the same size square of paper. Tell who will get a larger share of paper, 1 girl or 1 boy. Make a drawing of the problem. Explain your answer. So we imagine that there's a bunch of first graders in art class, and they're having to share some paper in order to do this art project. 2 girls are going to share 1 square paper, but 4 boys are going to share the same size square of paper. A different sheet, but the same size. Who will get the larger share of paper? 1 girl or 1 boy? Now, you're going to draw to answer this. You can draw either in this white space or in this cream-colored space. But you're also going to write something. First, you have to tell me if it's 1 boy or 1 girl, and you're going to have to tell why. I think the easiest way to tell something on a response like this is either to click the T and type out your answer. I think the answer is, or you can come over here and click the microphone, and depending on what device you're using, like mine is not going to allow me to talk on and record myself on this particular web browser, but that's okay. But depending on what device you're using, you can actually record yourself talking to give the answer, which might just be a little bit easier depending on what you want to say. The last thing is that you'll need to come over here and click Add Page, just like that, and then come over here and click the camera, just like this. Take a photo, and remember, your job is to show page 161 today. So that's this page with the What's My Rule problems. Post a photo of this page completed. So that's how you would add that to your math homework. There was the shape template to respond on. There was the drawing template to respond on. And then you need to add a page to show this, okay? So I'm going to get out of there. And then once you're done with all of that, you obviously click the green check and move on. And now Molly Webster has turned in her math homework for the day. All right, go work on those things. You have a bunch of different things to do for math today. So go ahead and get to work, and I will see you next week on Monday because we do not have school tomorrow on Friday. Bye.